Okay, so let's start with that. Like, how do you pronounce your name correctly?
Kateryna Sadurska.
Sadurska. Okay.
So,
And where were you born?
I was born in Ukraine, Mykolaiv. It's the south of Ukraine, not far from the Black Sea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I spent summers on the coast. And this is where I fell in love with the sea for the first time when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Who are your parents?
So I was raised by my mother and her parents, so my grandfather and grandmother. I don't know much about my father. Like I saw him a few times in my life. And yeah, he passed away last year, so I didn't get a chance to know him a bit more.
You were talking about your mom and being a single parent together with your grandparents. Are any of them swimmers?
No, none of them. And it's interesting that my grandpa, when he was young, some fortune teller told him that he will die drowning. And he was avoiding water by any chance. We were living next to the river, like not far from it, and they never went to the river or to the sea with his wife, my grandma. And also, yeah, I think my mother missed this experience being in the water as a child. So, yeah, she took me to the sea anytime she could. Yeah. So, yeah, so we had nobody from the sports, from the water. It was just an accident, or like there is no accident. But yeah, there was a new pool built in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was a bit far from our house, but yeah, it was one of the nicest things in our city. And it was very fresh and nice, and it was 50-meter. It has few pools actually for diving, for swimming, and there was some
Slides?
some slides. It was really cool. And yeah, I went there first when I was around 5-6 years old, when I was in the kindergarten.
Yeah.
We went to this shallow area for the kids. Yeah, I kind of liked it, but I don't remember that I want to go to the pool or something. I just wanted to do something related to the water. And yeah, and somehow I was not good enough for swimming. They didn't select me. And I was too tall for diving. I needed to be more compact. And yeah, then some girl came to the school and gave an invitation. Oh, there is synchronized swimming section. Come and try. And I'm like, oh, what is synchronized swimming? I don't know, but it's something related to water. Mom, let's go. And we went to this kind of casting. And I forgot my swimsuit on the first day. But yeah, they looked at me. I was kind of tall and a bit flexible enough. Yeah, so they told me, "Oh, come next time, and we'll see you in the water." And this is how I started to do synchronized swimming.
How old were you?
I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
And back then I didn't know what is this. I was just like, oh, okay, swimming. And my mom still thinks that we went there to work on my scoliosis.
That's scoliosis as well.
Yeah. But I remember this, like, I chose this, I took her, and we went, and it was my decision. But yeah, we have different view on this story.
And then synchronized swimming was your life, or how?
I was like a normal child. I was going to the school, but synchronized swimming itself is very hard sport, and it takes a lot of time, even if you do it at the amateur level. So all my free time I spent in the pool. But I didn't plan to somehow connect my life to sports. I was really good in studying, in education, and yeah, the city I was living was not small, but it was not very developed, and I was thinking about moving to capital, to Kiev, and to study in some university. Yeah. So, and also our team in Mykolaiv, it was not very professional, and I didn't have any example of the girl from our team to join the national team or somehow live out of this, like develop her life.
There's no role model.
Out.
Was no role model or no
No,
playbook
yeah.
you could follow.
Yeah, so the most interesting outcome could be going somewhere abroad, like Asia, and take part in show. Yeah, but it was not my. I was very. How to say? I forgot the word in English. Give me time.
Was that
Responsible. I was a very responsible child.
alright?
Since I was, I think this was because I was raised just by mom, and I saw how hard it is, so I need to kind of help her. And I saw that I need to go to university and have a good job, and this is how we make things better. And then suddenly one day I came to training, and my coach asked me, "Do you want to connect your life with sports?" And I didn't think even about the answer. I was saying no. No, it's not interesting for me. But then he told me that there is an invitation to go to Kiev, and they might help you with education after. So he kind of sold me this idea, and I bought it. And I went to Kiev, but none of this happened. My education ended straight away. It was the sports school, so people from all over the country came there to train, mostly in more professional level, and to combine it with studying in school. So I was 14 years old.
Really young.
Yeah. And then, after a few months, I was selected for the junior national team, which was training in Kharkiv. And I moved, and I was moving between two cities for a few years because the training camps were happening mostly in Kharkiv, because most of the team was from there, and all the coaches of the national team were from Kharkiv. So I spent 2-3 weeks in Kharkiv, then a few days in Kiev, then go back, and I was really missing this studying process and normal life, because I was very curious about everything what's happening in Kiev. It's like a cultural center. There are a lot of museums, and also I was young. I wanted to do some other stuff than just training. But as I said, I was responsible. I was selected, and I was representing already the Kiev team. Yes, and also it was really hard experience, because I was never prepared for that. For example, girls who starting in Kharkiv directly, they know their possibilities, their potential path in this sport. So it might be very professional. So they were raised as the champions, and I was second sort. I felt like I'm a loser in in terms of synchronized swimming, because we were taking fourth places in national championships, and really rarely we took the medals in Mykolaiv team. And then in Kiev I got some medals, but still I always felt like I'm not good enough. I'm this ugly duck, black swan or somehow, how you call it. So I had to work double as everyone worked.
Is in
yeah.
synchronized swimming, is CO2 tolerance a big factor?
Yeah, yeah, but the main thing, nobody talks about physiology there so much. You know, this is what fascinated me about freediving. You enter the course, and somebody explains you what's happening to your body, which never happens in synchronized swimming, unless you are studying in like some sports faculty or yeah. So we literally did a lot of amazing things, and we didn't understand until like higher level what is happening to us. We were just working hard, and yeah, it was a lot of tough moments, and it's like hard selection.
Is it mostly hypercapnia, or is it quite hypoxic that you?
It can be as a result of very high hypercapnia, but yeah, usually it's not too hypoxic because our time underwater is limited
Right.
to like 40 seconds, but it's very intense.
Do you feel like in retrospect it gave you a good solid basis?
Of course,
Yeah.
I was good in suffering. I suffered all my
for suffering.
all my 17 years in synchronized swimming.
Yeah.
You
Were there
only-
parts that you liked?
Huh?
Were there parts of it that you liked?
Of course, then I started to enjoy suffering. I mean, you have no choice.
Yeah.
We yeah, it was a nice like first like 10 years I didn't really understand what I'm doing there. Honestly, I just have to do it. I don't know. It was really hard to quit, and then I just went to another step and another, and you kind of always manipulate it. You try to deserve this appreciation from the coach, you know. And I didn't share much with my mom or somebody. I was always inside, and I understand that it was so stressful and it affected so much my mental health and everything. But somehow I survived. It's like still a mystery for me. But yeah, it was really tough, like physically and mentally, because it was some abuse. Because you know it's some post-Soviet style of coaching. It's not like
Not very child-friendly.
Huh?
Not very child-friendly.
not very child friendly, and yeah, and I also was on my own. I was living on my own, and I didn't have somebody to share with. So even if something was wrong with the coach, you know, the only way I could somehow release this was crying, and I was crying. Like I remember this period, I was waking up with the tears on my eyes and going to sleep. Yeah, it was really hard. But then I started to have some results, and then you kind of hooked up on this dopamine, you know, but it lasts not so long, you know, only when you have the medal or the coach said you did good, you know, but it happens really rarely. So yeah, and then there was this moment when I had really like some problems with my back, and I was thinking about quitting because I couldn't turn upside down in the water. I had horrible headaches. My body was so tensed, and I didn't know what to do. And no medications, which doctors gave me, didn't work. And yeah, but then I found some manual specialist, and I started to work on my body, like from different perspective, and it kind of triggered the path of exploration of other ways to deal with the stress, to explore the body, to yeah, this is how I found out something about yoga. I started to experiment with the food. I became vegan, and it was also like I was a young person searching for the answers. Yeah, and I was experimenting with many things. Meanwhile, preparing for Olympics, which was maybe not the very nice thing, but it helped me. It helped me to go through all these challenges. And somewhere on the way, I discovered freediving.
Do you remember that moment? Like, where Like, did you see a video or did you read about it?
First thing, I read an article about Alexander Bubenchikov. We were in the same magazine. There was an article about our team. We just won some medals at the World Championships, and then he also won some medal. And I was like, wow, it's interesting sport. Like, he's a superhuman. And then I found him on some social media, and I wrote him. And yeah, this is how I got into freediving. But I didn't have an idea that I want to try it or something. And then I was also kind of into this photo shoot stuff.
Yeah.
No, I really like to do something else, not just synchro. And I was invited as an underwater model for some, this underwater photography competition. This is a sport in Simas. So, and we have a school for children in Kharkiv, and they have competitions from time to time. And they invited Denis Relov to give masterclass and invited me to be a model. And I was like, okay, I want to try, but I couldn't make it on time. They already finished by the time I came because I had my own training. But I came there and there were some freedivers, and they started to talk about freediving, and they cannot stop, and you're so interested, and you have no other choice as to go and try.
No.
Yeah, so next day I went for training, and it was not like a course, it was just to try static, and they explained me how to breathe, how to prepare, and suddenly I did like 5:30 plus static on the first training. Like the first breath hold was like 3 minutes without anything, then like a few consecutive breaths holds, and then I did like 5 something. Like, wow, and it felt so nice. Like, of course I was fascinated about the numbers, but the process, it was the first time I stopped my inner monologue.
Right.
Because I used to be in the water, but I was always pushing, I was always in my mind controlling something. In synchronized swimming, you need to control many things. Yeah. And here you just kind of surrender and relax and try not to think too much. And yeah, just observe. And it was amazing. I felt this silence, and I could keep it for a while, even after the training. And wow, I felt like, okay, I need to give it a try one day.
Yes.
And but I didn't have a chance because we were preparing for the Olympic Games and blah blah. But Denise was always inviting me for the national championships in freediving for a few years in a row, and I couldn't go there to make it official, But when I finished synchro in 2017, like in a few months, he invited me to go to the Polish championship, and I said, okay, I have time, I have opportunity, I want to try. I went there and I did my first national record in monofin, like the first dive. It was horrible. I mean, it was I was without wetsuit, I was even without lobster, I think. I didn't know how to do it. I had just few trainings at home just to get used to the protocol. Yeah. And yeah, I was so excited. But yeah, I still had this base from synchronized swimming, which allowed me to do it so long. And then it felt so easy, and it was the best competition in my life because everything around the dive was amazing. You just need to relax, eat, sleep, kind of. Everybody's so friendly because in synchronized swimming is so hectic. Everybody's screaming, the music is so loud, and everybody's stressed. And it creates extra stress for everyone. And this competitive mode. And here just you and everybody's so friendly. They pretend to be, but I felt it was amazing atmosphere, and I really liked. It was like a retreat for me, You just focus on yourself, on your body, and
Can you put your finger on what made it so? Like you mentioned the silence, but also like the relaxation. It's like there's apparently something in your mind clicked there.
Yeah.
Can you put your finger on what that is? Like how you found that quiet spot?
I just experienced this stillness, like mindfulness, for the first time. And it was not forced. It was just by stopping the thinking process. And I was curious. I didn't have any expectations. It was the key, because then I faced the expectation thing, and I had to go back to school and learn how to deal with this. Yeah, because my results went down, and I had some sambas, blackouts in the pool. Yeah. And yeah, I had to work with my ego, face my dark sides, and then grow up back to my results. But it took me a few years.
I've had the same thing. Like in the beginning, freediving is very liberating, and it quells the talking monkeys in your head.
Yeah.
And they start for a while. And then as soon as you start doing it for ego or for other reasons, like as soon as I started breaking national records, same thing happened. Like you find the darkness.
Yeah. And then
you fucking find the darkness in freediving, and you go like, but this was my escape.
Yeah, but also like for me, it was at the same time I started doing freediving, going through this post
Traumatic.
yeah, not post, like just traumatic, like this crisis, self, like finding myself from the scratch, because I was an athlete. I was a top athlete. I was an Olympian, and I had everything. I had salary. I didn't have to think about what I have to do tomorrow or in 4 years. I knew that I have Olympics. Nobody guaranteed, but yeah, I had a plan kind of around synchronized. And here suddenly you have so much freedom, and I'm curious mind, and everything is so interested, and I had so many things I would like to try. I was paralyzed. I couldn't start anything, and also I didn't have resources, because also my body was going through these transformations. I didn't have so much training and strain in my life anymore, and I think I had these hormonal changes. I gained some fat, like 10 kilos, and then I just stopped checking my weight. I changed all my clothes, but it also took time, because in synchronized swimming we are dependent on how we look a lot, and we care about this a lot, and you could lose your place in the national team because you gained a few kilos. So it was a real thing, and you always think about yourself that you're good only in some certain weight.
Yeah.
And here suddenly I'm different. And I'm not good enough. I'm not doing these sports anymore. I'm not good for everyone as I was before. And also I had so many challenges, like financial, like finding my like new occupation, and also in my like personal life I was going through some transformations. So everything was a mess, and only freediving was kind of okay, you know. And it gave me some good response and result, and also competing was the way I was living for like all my life, conscious life, and it just helped me to give some structure. So I have a competition like in a few months, and I need to go to the pool and to do something, because I don't want to feel bad where I'm there, and so it kind of helped me to take me out from my bed and do something and to step into the world. And it was really dark time. And I remember I was focusing on static a lot because I was pushed by ego, and I had these numbers in my head, and I wanted to push it a bit further.
What was the number?
Like I wanted to do 6 minutes, because the national record back then was 6+ minutes, and I wanted to do it. And I did it a few times, but the process was so transformative. Sometimes I was just crying in the water and just keep holding my breath, because I started this process of observation, of self-reflection, of like all the demons, I call it like this, started to come out. And the first year was a mess, and then I started to eat meat.
Blood cells.
And then I met my husband, like future husband, and then suddenly life got a bit better. I started to run. It gave me some other boost of hormones, and my results in freediving started to come closer to the to those when I started. And back then I already accepted myself. Okay, I can allow myself not to be successful all the time. I can be okay if I'm not winning. I can find I can enjoy my result even if it's not a PB or a national record. And also, I was very inspired by, maybe you know Barbara from...
Barbara Jeske?
I think so.
German?
Yeah. Yeah, like she's...
English lady,
yeah,
doctor.
I think so, yeah. And she came to Kiev and she did like such a beautiful dives. They were not like too long. And you see that she didn't push it so much. Back then I was pushing all the time, and I was like, why is she coming up so early? She could do much more. But she comes up and she's smiling and she's enjoying the life, the community. And I was like, wow, you can do it with the like different approach.
Yeah.
And I started to search for it. Yeah.
Did you obviously found that approach and the difference. Was depth a factor in that? And when did depth become, like, when did you start going a little bit deeper? Because so far it's been pulling.
Like I started my first depth on the first year, like in 2017. And I went, like my first diving into the depths was in the quarry. And I was on the way to my first course, it was in Odessa. And on the way there, I stopped in Kiev, and we went with freedivers to this quarry, not far from there, like a few hours drive. And it was cold, dark, scary, and I didn't know how to equalize. And I had problems with my sinuses. But somehow I was very motivated, and I pushed myself to 10 meters. And it's still a mystery for me why I'm still in freediving, because there was no fun. Like the students I'm teaching, they have so much better experience now. Yeah. But yeah, I think I was just very motivated. And then I went to Odessa. It was also a horrible experience. It's a Black Sea, it's choppy, a lot of jellyfishes. The visibility is 0. And I had a really old diving suit. I could not do the breathe out properly, and it was August. Like you put it on, and you're like a bear going there. And also to have this depth of like 20 meters, you need to go very far in the sea. And but I did 17 meters. I didn't understand how to equalize. But yeah, I pushed myself. Also, the sinuses were not working. But yeah, and then in a month, Dennis, we were kind of working together, and he introduced me into this underwater photography topic. And we did some projects for television and blah blah. So I was very interested in this thing. So we kind of worked together. And he was invited to go to Bonaire to cover some competition, some world record of Karel Schrappe. And he invited me to go there, and I'm like, I just did my 17 meters. I think it's a bit too early to go to Caribbean to compete. But I was so inspired, and it was just the beginning of my free life. I just understood, okay, I can go anywhere. I didn't have much money. I have some part, and then I borrowed some, but I went. And this is where I understood, okay, I want to do this more. I arrived to Bonaire. Of course, Caribbean sunset, oh, it was magic. Then it was so warm, these iguanas walking like cats there everywhere. And then on the first training, I did 25 meters suddenly because it was warm, because my sinuses were unblocked.
Yeah.
And somehow, somebody told me how to equalize. And then in 10 days of competition, I progressed to 41 meter.
Nice.
And that was like, wow. And all these, these beautiful big blues. And these inspiring people, Carlos Costa, also Tomoka Fukuda was there. I saw this amazing, beautiful woman, the living mermaid. Also, it was kind of news for me when she ordered wine and steak. And I thought that, and before I was thinking that freedivers are like vegans and very, strict with that. But yeah, I saw a different approach.
Yeah.
And that you can enjoy life and do sports. And yeah, I liked it a lot. But since then, after that, I didn't compete in depth. I focused on trying to build my life on land.
Right.
I was missing it a lot when it was doing synchronised for me. I was working for the government as a sports youth advisor for the governor. I was taking part in many some social activities, doing some projects. Also, it was hard because I didn't know how to do it. But and then I was teaching students in the university, how to swim. I was trying many things to find my place in this world. And I also was dreaming about doing something creative. And I started my own brand of swimsuits.
Mm.
It took a lot of courage. It took a lot of time, but then the COVID started, and I just like, okay, fuck it. And right before I ordered fabric from Italy, I paid money, and they closed the next day for the quarantine. I'm entrepreneur. That's nice. But I was playing with that, and I got married. It was an amazing experience, and we got a dog, and I enjoyed my life a lot. And I became an instructor also in freediving, just because I wanted to go to the sea a bit more often and to train myself, not because I wanted to share something. But I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
When I started and I tried, but the main motivation was to go deeper. Because back then I could afford, like in terms of time also, not only resources, maybe 1 or 2 weeks per year for the depths, but it's not enough. Only once I went to Dahab for 3.5 weeks. And I said, okay, I will do it as the proper freediver. Because before I went to for 1 week, I faced the challenge with my sinuses. They were stuck, and I couldn't even start learning how to equalize because, at 1 meter, it's not much you can do. And it was very frustrating because in the pool, I was very strong.
Yeah.
And it was happening for a few years. And I went to Dahab and I thought, okay, I'll go as a good girl. I will take it step by step. I will not push. I will take it slow and meter by meter. And I spent 2 weeks going back to my 40s. And then I didn't take a coach. I was so confident. I thought, I will. I'm Olympian. I can learn. I'm not stupid. I was talking to people, in Dahab it's easy. Everybody's sharing everything about mouthfeel at any table. So I was trying different stuff. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it not, mostly not. And I was also frustrated. And then, but I was like, okay, it takes time. And then my friend came and she, on her second training, she went to 40 plus with mouthfeel. Like, fuck. I was so jealous. And I was so angry on myself because I thought that I'm like stupid. I cannot get it because somebody comes and do it very fast. And I faced this perfectionist thing, which was very beneficial for synchronized swimming.
Yeah.
But in life, it doesn't help. And and then I was crying in blue hole. And then I just said, and that was the competition on the second buoy, like next to us. Yeah, you know how it happens in blue hole. And there was some guy coming up from the dive, and he said like, I'm okay. And he was like, I don't know, in his 50s, 60s years old. He said like, easy. And he was so happy. And I was like, okay, why cannot I enjoy? And I said to myself, I will just let myself to do mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do it perfectly from the very beginning, but it's not how you do it. Straight away, the next dive, I did 50. It was shitty mouthfeel, but I did 50. And it was the first time I heard this inner voice down in the blue hole. Like it was there was this clarity. Like I understood something about myself, like the true self, not what I was told all my life as a synchronized swimmer, or as I pretended to think about myself, or what I should be in terms of like successful success, what I was trying to be. Like it was like the first glimpse, like this was the first shift. I touched this something real.
Yeah.
Without all these bubbles and
Sure.
and I was carrying this feeling like for a while, but it was really hard to maintain it. But now I feel it more. I mean, this feeling of true self, not rational, but I don't know, subconscious, irrational. I don't know, something that connects body and mind, like this thing.
Is it also that when you kind of become what you're doing? So it's not just body, mind, but it's also the temporal aspect. Like in that moment, you're not thinking about anything else.
I was just being.
Just being, yeah.
I didn't push for any numbers. Yeah. I was just in the moment. It was like, I think it was the flow state or something. I just allowed myself not to expect something from myself, not to execute some performance, not to think about technique. Just go try and play.
Good.
And to have this freedom, not to be in this box of how you think it should be, because it can be done in a different way.
Yeah.
So I kind of stepped out from the box there in Blue Hole, and and then I became an instructor. I passed my requirements, and I did some courses in the. I was teaching people in the pool mostly. And we had a group in Kharkiv, and I really enjoyed. It was very busy time, like 2021, and that year, first time I went to the Depths World Championship. I already had all the records in the pool, and since I became an instructor, and I was working in Natalia Zharkova's school. So we kind of combined the training camp with our students and competing in the championships. And it was an amazing experience. I learned so much from her. And also I progressed during that competition. Like I added 10 meters from like my 50 to 63. But it was also like I was pushing so much. I didn't know how to equalize properly. Even by being an instructor, and it was so disappointing. I had some very embarrassing dives But now I have something to show my students how not to do. Yeah, and I was very inspired by the depth. I was very hungry, and I realized that I lack some knowledge, and I took a course on equalization because it was the only thing that stopped me.
What did you take a course with?
Andrei Matvienko.
He's pretty good.
He is pretty good. And it was right before the New Year. And then I went for my course with the students, for my first depth course. And then I decided to stay for 1 more week in Dahab to try what I've learned. And the war started. Yeah, and I didn't know what to do. Like I obviously didn't want to go to Europe and become a refugee. To go back to Kharkiv was really kind of impossible because everybody was moving from there, and there was a big mess, and it was still very intense shelling. It was very close. They were very close.
What happened?
And we decided that I had to stay in a safe place as long as it's needed. And it was kind of a sign that I'm in my place. It was very mixed feelings because it felt very hard about the war. But at the same time, I was somewhere where I really wanted to be, in Dahab, with all the equipment, with the new knowledge, with the hunger. And also I was diving with Thibaut. He always creates some good atmosphere. And the first week I was just unstoppable. Like all this news, like the whole day I was scrolling the news, and then the hall was the only place where I couldn't do that. Yeah. So I just went and I just did a PB, and I added 10 meters in 1 week.
Wow.
So I was in my 70s, and then I got my first trachea squeeze, and I said, okay, I need to kind of stop.
Can you explain that hunger? Like, what is it about depth that attracts you?
It was just feeling that I have potential, and the only thing was stopping me was the equalization, and I still was lacking some puzzles on that because I felt that I'm strong. I have this base from the pool, and I'm doing pool. I like pool too, and but the dive time is not the limit, and also I didn't feel like I was scared or something. I was just not really confident with the technique of equalization because I didn't have like a proper coaching. I took this course, I did these exercises, but still there was no such a guy like telling me, oh, you're doing this wrong. So I was experimenting, and but back then I already allowed myself to do mistakes. So it was a bit different approach. It was more conscious, and I think it happens in the right time.
Do you enjoy the sensations of depth as well? Is that something?
Yeah.
Does that get better with depth? Like, is 80 much different than 60, or is?
No, I don't really. It depends on the day. It depends on my shape, you know. It depends on the conditions. I don't know if I feel the difference between 60 or 80. It's just the number. The deeper is the number, the line set, the more focused I have to be.
Yeah.
So, and this is the difference. Because if it's 60s, I can play around, like I don't need to meditate, I don't need to stretch, I'm kind of lazy, you know, I don't take it seriously. But if I'm starting to go deeper, I need to accumulate, to be more focused. And this is I like, it helps me to structure myself because I'm very spontaneous person. And it kind of aligns everything, and I can plan my life accordingly to these competition preparations and everything. So I was trained there, then Thibaut left, and everything changed. I changed my perspective on Russian people. And back then I was coached by a Russian guy. and he didn't say any word until May, when I did my 80 plus dive in the competition. And yeah, I didn't feel comfortable to speak with them, and we also expected some different reaction, some actions. Yeah, we expected too much, us as Ukrainians, from that side, but it didn't came. And yeah, it's a bit disappointing. So yeah, and I started to work in freediving wall charm, and it was another challenge because I had to survive. Yeah, I needed some money. I didn't plan to stay in Egypt for months or more, and I stayed there for like 4 months. So I need to get money from somewhere, and in Dahab it was too many Russians, so I moved to back to Sharm. And yeah, there was Andrea Zuccari, he was still alive, and it was this amazing team, and I learned how they run the freediving center. I was a part of the safety team. I participated in the safety in the competition, and I was hungry for depths. Every time before the session, I did a deep dive. And I was very lucky because I had very supportive team. There was Martin Ruman from Slovakia, Ricardo Buffoli. So they helped me with the safety, and they were also doing their own dives. They were also motivated to go deeper. And yeah, it was a good time. And then there was 2 competitions, one after another. So in the first time, at the first one, I was safety, and like in a few days I was competing. And yeah, on the first dive, I set a national record in free immersion, like 84 meters. In Aida, it was a bit shallow. Thanks, Natalia. And it gave me a purpose. You know, I wanted to go deeper and to try to come close to this record, because it was the year where every time you stretch the flag and remind about Ukraine, it felt so important. And yeah, and it felt amazing. And I did this dive, and Andrea told me, like, when did you trade? You were working as everyone, like, how? Yeah, but this is so beautiful thing about this place, because even if Andrea didn't help me much, like we had like maybe one lecture about equalization, and I just was asking how to teach people properly, because I had so many information and didn't know how to give it.
Yeah.
Serve it. So yeah, but everybody who was working there, they were sharing, and it was so much better than in Dahab, you know, because there is one method and everybody sticks to it, and you just go and try, and it works.
Okay.
And yeah, it helped me to progress. But on the way, I faced this, like, another challenge again, because it was another identity crisis. I was also in the middle of nowhere. My kind of previous life didn't exist anymore. On the first week, I felt that it's ruined, and I have to build a new one.
Yeah.
But after a few months, it came back almost to normal, but I was not the same anymore.
What do you think happened?
I made this decision to move on and to live the life in the moment and to do what I want.
So,
Because I felt that tomorrow might never come, and I will never try to go deeper. Or something like, I always was thinking, I want to live somewhere close to the sea, but you always kind of think about this like for your last part of the life, you know, and you don't think about this like, oh, next year I will go and change my place, because you think, oh, I need to make money, I need to make family, I need to make kids, I need to do so many I need it, and and here I am, and all the Ukrainians, we realized that nothing really means. Like everything that for example, I was collecting some money, we were investing in some things and like in some real estate. We were thinking about buying our own place. But suddenly it's all frozen and it could be destroyed at any moment. And and it kind of changed the perspective that, okay, you can work on some long-lasting goal, but it might never come.
Does that realization of, because freediving really puts you in the moment, right? Especially depths, like,
War
yeah,
put me in the moment.
what puts you in
And freediving helped me to work with that skill. Because I was diving and I was processing the war. It was happening in the same time. And I could scroll some news and I was very affected by this, and I felt like, oh, people are in danger and it might happen also with me. And then you're there preparing for a dive. You have just one dive because you don't have time. You need to work after. And you learn how to let go very fast and to enjoy
that?
everything.
Yeah.
Because like every breath, literally.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, we are very much aware of that, what we call it the last breath, but it's not your last breath, but like, knock on wood. But like, we're very aware of that breath and how much you can cram in one breath and how much you can put in one breath. Do you think all that, it seems to be a bit of a theme, like there's a lot of suffering, but that made you very strong at certain things. That made you very focused. So that combined with the depth, like your first world record attempt, what happened there? Could you, was all that strength already there for you to muster?
No, of course it was not the same as I'm diving now, but it was definitely, I was strong, but I still had these doubts. Like the main obstacle, like back then in Vertical Blue when I was doing my first world records, it was this doubts about myself, about my abilities. I was strong, but I didn't believe in that.
Because what you're doing, world records, like literally nobody has ever done what you're doing before. Like you went, it's only a meter or two more, but nobody's been there. So you're breaking new grounds. Do you think, what does that do to your mind? What does that do to a person to be the first to ever do that?
I kind of, I think I solved this ego thing. Like I try not to think about how it looks like, because it might blow you away. It blew me away before I announced 77 meters. I went through all this shit, and it took all the magic from the process, and all the the Vertical Blue itself was very transformative. The way I started and the way I finished was completely two different personalities. I started with many doubts. I had, some numbers in my mind that are possible, but still, I was very tensed inside. I kind of didn't let myself be successful, I was afraid of it.
Yeah.
In some case, and so I did this first record, 74 meters. It was very conservative, and thanks Samo, it really helped me. And then I felt like, okay, on training I did 76, and it went okay. I did some mistake there, and it was not perfect, but I know if I will fix it, and I fixed it on my 74, so I can go deeper. And I said, okay, I want to announce my own. I announced 77 straight after 74. And Salma told, like, why? I recommend to do 76. Like he had more experience, but I didn't listen. I felt like I want to do this. It feels like a good number. I like the number. And I felt good. I felt okay. I didn't feel really nervous. I felt it's possible. And the moment I announced, everything changed. I couldn't let out all these things that creep into my mind. Oh, if I will do this, I will be the deepest woman, or like this is a historical achievement, all this bullshit. And also I started to doubt myself if I can do it in terms of equalization, because it was still not perfect, and I didn't have much time that year to work on EQ much. So like my overall depth was like around 80 something, and I did some early turns. So it was very tricky, and I simply couldn't sleep. I simply couldn't sleep that night. I was too excited, and then I somehow managed to come to I think I could do this dive even without sleeping, but I was not confident, and I lost equalization, of course.
Yeah.
And I was not focused. So yeah, but I already went through all this thing, and I realized that the quality of this dive and the feeling is not the one I love in freediving. I already discovered this feeling when you enjoy the dive, when you enjoy the moment before, and it can be like not perfect. It can be not very good sensations, but you have the resources to deal with this and to solve these small things on the way, and you're present, and it's nice. And then, yeah. And then I announced 76. I went like back, and I arrived to the line, and I didn't have any doubts. Like I just knew that okay, I will do this.
76 did it.
And the equalization was perfect. And then I felt like okay, 77, I can do it. And also, and that day, you remember, there was amazing visibility.
Yeah.
And it was really magical dive. Like I had this extra resource, like extra energy, attention to to pay attention to some other things, not only to control what's happening inside me, but also to notice what's going on outside. I looked at this beauty. I earned every meter. And I was kind of present inside and outside, like so this perfect balance of attention, of focus. And also no doubts, it was easy, was beautiful, it was like I was one with this blue hole. Like it was helping me, like the weather was helping me, the sun. Like I was not doing this alone, I was a part of the big world, and we are synchronized.
No.
We are resonating. It felt amazing. Like it was transformative dive. I understood that. Also, like looking at how others doing their dives, I was very inspired by Alenka and Arno. They always were so calm and confident and never pushing too much. And when you are ready, it just happens. You don't have to push. You just need to allow yourself to do what you can now, here and now, with what you're ready for. And also to accept that sometimes if you're ready, it's not enough, because also the world should be ready too. The reaction for these records was insane. Like it was not like a huge thing in the world, but in Ukraine, I never had this much attention. Even when we had some medals in synchronized swimming, when we went to Olympics, never had. And it completely blew me away. I was exhausted after this, because I was trying to. No, there was so many tennis balls coming to your side, and you need to give a feedback. And it was also the big difference in the time. And I was trying to do as much interviews as possible, because it's your kind of job as an athlete. and you want to communicate the things. And and I was still on my way to Honduras, to Roatan, and I didn't allow myself even to enjoy the moment what I've done, because I had to be focused. I had to keep training. I had to organize my time to respond to journalists. And when I arrived to Rotterdam, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to compete. I realized my potential,
That, you know.
and I thought whatever happens. And then, and then it happened again. So,
But do you find, because you've recently also like started setting records in constant weight, free immersion, I think, as well, right?
no, I mean, world record I have only in Seattle.
Like national records. Like you're really exploring all facets of freediving now.
In general, I usually do all the disciplines.
But do you think there's a difference in quality for you? Is there a difference in sensations between no fins and say the mono?
Of course, it's completely different feeling. Completely different shape you need for this dive. For dolphins, I need to be perfect.
Clear.
I need to be on top of my shape, because sometimes even if like I have some hormonal fluctuations, not every day I can do these dives. And in other disciplines, usually the limit is the equalization I used to have. So I feel much more confident in terms of dive time and everything.
Yeah.
And I can be more relaxed.
This might be a bit of a weird side step, but I always found in no fins I found it more intimate, because you're not wearing anything alien. It's you and the sea, and you really have to feel the water with your hands and with your feet, and that for me always made it more of a connection. Whereas with the monofin, like you can't have to feel the monofin, and the monofin has its own way. And with free immersion, you have to pull a rope, and the rope has its own thing. But without fins, it's you and the sea, and there's an intimacy there.
But it's nice, like you have intimacy with monofin, and then you have intimacy with the rope. It's different kind of intimacy. Like you can have different relationships there. Underwater.
Do you know what I mean? Like you really have to, like it's a conversation with the water in a way.
Yeah.
And do you talk to other people who do deep no fins dive about little things that you notice, like, okay, you have to put your fingers out a little bit, or you have to, it's like, do you lift your, do you talk about those details? Is there anybody who can help you with that, or are you...
Like in the beginning, of course, my no fins technique was horrible. I was synchronized swimmer, I was good in water, but never trained this technical aspect.
Yeah.
And I had to learn it, and I was open for any tips, and still now I'm open. But then I realized that we have different bodies, and we have different benefits. Yeah, so it can be completely different technique for each person. And like, for example, like the technique which William do, I cannot do this. I cannot do such a powerful stroke and glide for so long, for example. I'm more endurant, like I like to keep the pace, like maybe do a bit more movements but with less power.
You have a bit of a dolphin kick in there.
A bit of dolphin kick, I feel it's natural movement, especially in the beginning when I need to overcome the positive buoyancy, because I like to do it faster. And also I'm more buoyant than the guys, the women are more buoyant, so I cannot do it in the same way as they are. And for other examples I had, so back then the world record was Mirella's, and there was no video of it from Daibai, so we couldn't learn from this experience. and there was just her dive to 63 meters, which has beautiful technique, but it's not enough. It's completely different speeds, completely and she was completely different Mirella back then. So it was Alessia, and I was looking at her, and yeah, it helped me a lot. So I realized that, okay, we need to do it in a bit different way as women, because we are a bit more buoyant and we maybe need to swim a bit more. We cannot free fall from like 20 meters.
7 strokes in that.
Yeah, so I experimented, and I'm still open to it, and searching for some new tips, maybe in like from the guys. I'm learning from the guys, from swimmers. Yeah, I talk about this, but not like much now. I don't know. Yeah, I was actually really helping to work with Stefan last year. Randik, we did a few master classes, workshops, and we shared our, because we have a bit different technique, a bit different approach, and yeah, you see that each can work.
Yeah.
And it's nice because not everybody has like some flexibility, mobility, strength, but you can move without fins in the water. This is the main goal. It doesn't have to be perfect.
But obviously, like somebody like you is going to have a different technique and a different approach than somebody tiny like Sayuri.
Yes.
Or
so this is the beauty of freediving. You need to find the key to your own body and to use it in your own way. And it doesn't have to be like super deep. You just can enjoy what like your best.
Yeah. So when you're at depth and you're coming up from say 82 meters, do you feel strong and do you feel in control of that dive?
Yeah, I was present, completely present. I was even I was thinking about this yesterday. I felt so good. I realized, okay, let's do perfect technique. Like, let's keep the arms as close as we can. And then I almost took off my nose clip, and I'm like, okay, let's do. Yeah, let's do it automatically. don't try to be perfect. Maybe next time. So yeah, but I felt good. I didn't think much. On this kind of dives, you just let things happen, you know? There are training dives where you control and you notice some details and things. But when I come to this PB dives, I just let go and try and let things happen.
Yeah.
Because this is your automatic way to do it, and this can show what to work on. Yeah, to create like another habits.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. It seems like the training was good.
Is it for you? This was your deepest dive so far. Was it also the best dive, or do you have other fun experiences at that? Question.
The dive in Kalamata was magical.
Yeah.
So this 77 in Blue Hole. This Blue Hole last year. This year, Kalamata, 80 meters. I didn't have any doubt. It was I had the best sleep ever on this competition.
Yeah.
I came to the taxi boat and I saw some signs that everything will happen, you know. And I came to the boat. At this boat, I was like listening to the music, then I was meditating, then there was Samo, he came to support, to be a part of the competition for a few days, and he helped me to transport me to the line, and I didn't know that there was red cards for other girls. I heard some applause and that everybody is happy and like, oh, such a good day, everybody has a white card, so I have a chance too, and yeah, it was an amazing day. And then Samo transported me and tried to calm me down. And I'm like, Coach, I'm okay. I think everybody was much more nervous than me.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you don't announce, like, it's not usual thing to announce world record in the world championships. But I just felt like I don't have a choice. It's not interesting to go for a medal, to do like something much shallower that I did in the training.
Yeah.
It was a challenge this year to get used to the cold water, to get used to the thicker wetsuit. I used 1.5 mil comparing to 1 mil last year. To get used to the more weights, it was like 1.2 kilos, which is a lot for nothings.
Yeah.
And I did this dive in the training, and I realized that I'm in a good shape now, and I might not have the chance to be in this shape and to do this dive officially with a dive eye. Like, there are not so many places you can do. I need to wait for another year, and nobody knows what will happen, maybe World War III or something. So I need to give it a chance. And the plan was to show some nice results in free immersion, to have some medal, so I have something from the championships for my federation and for myself, so I can do what I want in nothings. And I did what I wanted. And I owned each meter. I did like the first like few strokes, and I like, okay, it's going good. Hello, God.
Is there ever any fear when you dive? Do you ever?
Sometimes
Are you ever intimidated? by it?
sometimes it's there. Sometimes
On the way
it's there.
down, when you turn, or on the way up, where does it? How does it manifest?
It's usually I can feel it before, and then I feel it in the dive, the tension, and then I'm okay.
How do you deal with it?
I let it be, and I let myself turn early if needed, and go back to the surface and think about what is it about.
Right.
Yeah, just reflection.
Do you think of yourself as an extreme person?
No. I'm spontaneous. I'm trying to be conservative in some way, I try to be balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think other people think of you as an extreme person?
Yeah, of course. If they don't know anything about freediving, they think I'm crazy. I think, yeah, this is how it looks like. But I don't care. Like, when this mind shift happens with the war and with all these dives, I realized that life can be so different, and it can be lived in so different ways. And you can play your own game, and there are no rules.
Okay.
Like, you can create your own. Of course, like if you talk about like some law and some moral stuff, but in general, everything is acceptable unless you feel it's yours. Like, you just need to listen to yourself, because sometimes you go with some external goals and they take you from your own journey, and then you don't feel happy. And if you're on your journey, no matter what you do, you will be happy, because you're doing your best with what you have. And it doesn't matter what other people will say.
As a kid, would you ever have thought that you would set a world record in something? Did you ever have that dream?
I never had any dream of like this successful thing in sports, but I have, like, when I was small, my mom gave me a present for like some holiday, some celebration, the Guinness Book. There's some, it was very beautiful golden edition, some anniversary. And there was 2 pages with some aquatic sports,
Yeah.
and there was no information about artistic swimming, synchronized swimming. So there was like some swimming, some Olympic records. I didn't dream about being a champion or Olympian because it was not on the horizon, like in any way.
Yeah.
But I was just like, okay, there are people doing this, nice. And then it was my kind of secret place to collect money for the presents for my mom, for like some like New Year or something. This is where I stored like my secret, like And I started right there between these pages. And then like I grew up, but I kind of has a habit to keep like some things there. And then I changed the page to freediving, and there was the freediving record. Tanya Streeter,
160.
something like that. And I never thought myself doing this, but maybe it was some subconscious thing, or maybe it was pre-written. You don't know, because I would never plan this with my rational mind.
No.
I was visualizing different stuff, and it didn't happen. And then like everything messed up with the war, and I just started to follow like this voice, and it just happens. I just let it happen. I just don't stop it, because before I was kind of also freediving started pretty good. If I would follow that first impression, if I would find the proper coach, I would maybe do these world records earlier, maybe even in the pool too. But I was trying to build the life I thought is the right one.
Yeah.
And then I realized that there is no right definition. And I'm discovering it, what is right for me. And it can change during the time. So I was always searching for some normal life. I was missing it. I was not studying with the normal kids in the school. I was studying, but then I was missing this time after the school when everybody was playing, and because I went to the training. Then I went to this sports school, and I was missing the school itself and university. Then I missed the family because I was living on my own. I was always searching for normality. Then I didn't have I started to build my own life, and it became kind of normal, and I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed being a wife. I enjoyed being a young entrepreneur, an instructor, and have a hobby as freediving. But seems like it was not for me. And then over these few years, when I started to go deeper and to win medals and set records, I start to travel. I don't stay in one place more than a month.
Here.
It's not normal, but this is my new normality. And also it became new normality for many people in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So, there is nothing normal.
So if normality doesn't exist, and extreme doesn't exist, or extreme is always you don't consider yourself extreme.
I don't.
Is extreme always something external? It's never...
I think extreme when you go out of your comfort zone. I try to stay there. I try to extend it and to move within it. I don't like to stay out of it because I don't feel comfortable there.
Shit.
I mean, I like to explore new dimensions, let's say, but to keep the control.
Are there people that you would consider extreme?
Maybe. Should I say some names? I think it's just when you're not connected to yourself and just follow the ego thing. Yeah, this is the extreme shit. Because you have less control over the situation.
Correct. Other people that when you think of deep freedivers, who do you think of?
Alenka?
She's deep.
There are many people who go in deep in terms of meters, but there are not so many deep people.
Yeah.
And she doesn't need to say anything. You just look at her and she knows everything. There are many other things, other people, and they might not even go deep, and they are deep freedivers for me. They might not even compete.
Here.
No. You don't have to free dive to be deep.
It's not funny. Like sometimes you see people who go to what a beginner would think is a deep dive, maybe 30 meters or something, and they don't look like free divers at all. And then sometimes you have could be beginners or not very deep divers, but for some reason they're free diving. Like it has nothing to do with that number.
Yeah, they have wisdom.
The wisdom, and they're also like
Connection with the body, some other experience in life. It's not about the numbers. It's just the confirmation that you're deep. If it happens. If you go for it. Because it happens if you dedicate some time and energy. But maybe you have some other things in life to dedicate your time and energy. Because it's, to go, to show some result in freediving, you need to put on pause all your other areas. Many of them.
in other areas in life. Do you find you go deep there as well? Do you have a similar approach to other areas?
It's on pause now.
Yeah. But when they weren't on pause, was there a similar approach to life there, or is
I was different back then, I don't know. It was not that deep. It was like my dives back then, with a lot of doubt
yeah?
and self-limiting beliefs. And now, when you feel all this scale, like there are no boundaries, they're just in your head. Yeah, I think I would do it a bit in a different way.
Do you think 1 year from now, where do you see yourself?
I still feel like I want to free dive a bit, like a few more years, for sure. I understand it takes time, and I'm ready to give it. And I'd like to travel a bit more for like sharing the experience and see the world. And I'm really missing home and the place which I can call home, because my home in Ukraine is so unstable, and I want something where I feel comfortable and safe.
Yeah.
So I would like to, I hope I will have this opportunity to feel in Ukraine. But I also feel that I need some place next to my other home, like ocean. So, because it's necessary, I really need this. I realize that I need to spend some time next to the sea and the ocean, and I'd like to find this place.
Yeah. It's a really weird consequence to that. Because we moved a lot when I was a kid. And then as a student, you move everywhere, and I never really had a home. And then we found our house, and we moved in there. And then the weird thing is, we get homesick. We go to these lovely places, and they're really lovely. But at a certain point, you kind of go like, I want to go home. I want to go play with my dog.
Yeah.
I've never had homesickness before. So it's a lovely sickness to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you. Do you think your approach that you found now with depth, you can transport that to other aspects in life once you stop freediving?
Definitely. It's the main treasure I found. It's not the numbers or attention, or I became more myself, something I never let myself be.
Oh, this is going to be such a cliche. Sorry. Is there a way of saying that you found a depth within you by going to the depths out there?
Kind of. Yeah. I just stopped pretending like it's not there.
What do you think the link is?
The pressure. It really helps. I mean, the breeze we experience in the pool, but the pressure, it makes everything so intense, and you just have no choice. You need to adapt. Otherwise, you will not go deeper.
There.
So, yeah, you become, you gain these different qualities by going deeper. You become more adaptive, more acceptive, more observative, like more detached from the outcome and more attached to the present, to what's really happening. And it's like, sometimes I feel like that the world is huge chaos, and there is like nobody knows what will happen the next moment, but you can really organize the chaos around you, and in this way influence the world around you. And it's interesting. And each moment you make a choice which organizes the chaos in some definite way. There are some different things, and also the nature, the connection with the nature, because in the city we are always so consumed by these thoughts about like this routine, about making money, about how we look, how people think about us, all this like surface bubble thing, this noise. And here you really experience something real, and all that noise, it doesn't mean anything. It's nothing. Yeah. Also, like every time I come home to Kharkiv, it's quite intense, and there are many missiles, explosions very close to our house, and I'm still afraid. My defense mechanism is still working, and this is the real danger. We used to talk about danger in freediving, but it's more something that we imagine, that we think about. But if you follow the rules, there is not much danger. If you have the safety plan, if you don't push too much, it's such like a pure pleasure. And there you just cannot control this, where this missile come. You just go to sleep, and then, it's like playing in Mafia, you never know if you will get to the morning. So every time I hear the air raid, the notification about the danger, I feel like thinking, so it looks like the life was good. I lived, I made the decision I wanted. So I don't mind. It happens. I mean,
it's outside of your control.
It's outside of my control, and so then my mission is I did it. And I feel like it's better to have more intense and beautiful and interesting and tasty life than long and suffering and I don't know, just going for numbers.
One last question. You feel we've been talking about what you can control and everything. I experience in freediving there's a passive element as well. Like you kind of surrender to depth. Is that there for you as well? Is there a letting it happen and letting the depth take you?
It's a balance. You still need to maintain the focus inside, the control, what you are doing, how you are reacting to these changes. You cannot just melt. I mean, there are some dives where you don't need that much control. It can be like a shallow dive. It's okay. Just different dives. But you cannot control many things. almost anything.
Well,
And also, like, there was this interesting thing about decision making. Usually there is not so much choice. There is usually one option, and the other is just searching for, and yeah, some mental constructs to explain why you need to do this. But usually there is only one answer that is good for you.
yeah.
And yeah, you either accept it or you avoid it, but then you need to deal with the consequences of the wrong choice.
That's correct.